right, Taurus. So first I want to let you know that I tried to record your video 3 days ago. I did a 30-minute spread and I clicked the off record button on my laptop and the file was just nowhere to be found. Just straight up gone. So that's why your reading is late and that's why Gemini and Cancer went up before you. Before this card fell, I started to get some pressure in my forehead area on my head, and I think that you have a lot on your mind this month, and I'm not sure if you really know what to do with all of those thoughts, okay? The card that fell out is the Three of Swords, and on the bottom of the deck we have the Page of Wands. Now, the Page of Wands, right, it could speak of children, but it usually speaks of more of like a new spiritual beginning or a new creative pursuit or an opportunity to feeling deep in your relationship with spirit or with a creative venture and going out and getting more. Now, before, when I just started shuffling and I put them back, the Tower and the High Priestess fell. This is a similar message. This is, talking about pain, and I think having to deal with pain and dealing with, because it was the way it was hitting my head, I'm feeling memories, right? How old these memories are going to be dependent on other people. But this is just having like heavy thoughts on your mind, and they are either preventing you from digging deeper into your spirituality, or they will ultimately motivate you to dig deeper into your spirituality. There's just this block that I think that you have allowed to linger for a while. And again, how old this pain is really going to be dependent on how long you've been resisting this connection with Source. Because granted, this is a spiritual path and career reading, but this does not feel career-based to me. And if it's manifesting in your career, again, it's coming from internally and inside of you. So what is it, right? What is this perceived deception or perceived betrayal or perceived wrong, right? I'm feeling from God, from Goddess, right? From Source, that it's like a spiritual betrayal. Like you feel wronged on some level by the higher power, and you've been resisting digging deeper into your connection. Except digging deeper into your connection is exactly what's going to deliver you to the next place that you need to go. Because until we're really ready to seize the next opportunity, we're going to be left waiting. We're going to be left waiting and wondering when things are going to manifest for us, okay? Because we can't just wait and do things in the physical. Like, what we're all learning on this planet is that the physical is merely a byproduct of our inner world and our prayer and our ritual and things like that. So this month is really all going to be about, for you, seeing with clarity eventually, I think towards the end of the month, seeing with clarity how your lack of spiritual process, or because we can be on a path for a long time and still lack certain things. So I'm not saying you haven't been working on this at all, but there needs to be a revisit of whatever hasn't manifested in your life, right? Whatever you've been trying to manifest, especially if it comes to work or money or stability. How have you held on to disappointments or just anger? I'm feeling anger as well. And are you mad at God? Or are you mad at Spirit? Are you mad at Source? Or the people who have tried to deliver those messages, of Source through, to you? Has there been a resistance to a spiritual truth? All right, Taurus, listen. So this reading is definitely on point to what I've told you already. And it is the cards are not similar. Honestly, I don't even remember what your cards were. And like I said, I have no, I have no proof of what they were. However, the message is pretty similar. It is that you are your own worst enemy. You, and just, you being your Taurus bull self, being set in your ways and wanting to do things on your terms, on your time, in your direction, and all that. And there's nothing wrong with you know, having a method and a modality and a way of approaching things and a way of doing things, and you know, well, it's worked for me, so I'm going to keep doing it. But obviously it's not working now because you wouldn't have this kind of spread. Notice, of all the cards on the table, only 2 of them are major arcana, with the exception of your overall energy this month, which is justice. So, you know, I don't really feel, I mean, you could, some of you may be going through a legal, a legal situation. However, that's not really how I'm feeling. I'm really more feeling this is spirit saying justice will be served, meaning, you know, we reap what we sow. We reap what we sow, and it's not really up to us to decide if what we're doing or what another person is doing is for the universal highest good. If that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, we can sit here and try to play judge and jury. You know, we can say, well, this is right and this is wrong, and that's fine or whatever. But at the end of the day, source takes care of that. It's really not up to us. We don't have that level of discretion. And this is coming from a Virgo who technically, Virgo being this sign that is in between the physical and the non-physical, actually kind of is allowed to cast judgment. It's weird, but that's a whole other story, and I'll get into that another day. Now, in the position of what you need to let go of, how interesting, we have the Queen of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles, and the rune we have here is luck. So now, Taurus, doesn't really matter whether you're the king or the queen. What I'm feeling here is it's you versus you, and you versus the way you gain money and stability, because I know that that's very important to you, right? The things that you have that keep you secure. So, and with the rune luck, right? That's literally saying, like, you are blocking, you being set in your ways and you wanting to do things a certain type of way is the only block on all the manifestations and luck and success and abundance that you've been asking for. So if you notice, the King of Pentacles is looking in the future, and that's where the luck rune is, and the Queen of Pentacles is looking in the past. So it's as if you're focused on the past, and that's where you're manifesting from. And that is why the King of Pentacles is so stuck, right? So stuck and immobile when it comes to manifesting success. Because the King of Pentacles is more of like the one that has it all and feels really secure and strong, whereas the Queen of Pentacles is the one that creates it all, okay? So your feminine half, right, is stuck on the past. And that makes sense here because you have the Five of Cups in your headspace this month, and with the Five of Cups on your mind, that means you are just totally focused on what has been and what has failed you, what has not worked out for you. And we all know, right? Any of us that have ever studied law of attraction, which is a very basic spiritual concept. I think anyone that's watching this video is aware of that. We cannot manifest anything positive from a place of disappointment. We cannot manifest anything positive from mulling over people, you know, perceived wrongs and situations that have failed and things that we're mad about. Like, this feels very depressing. I don't mean that in like a clinical depression type of way. This just feels very blah. Like, this feels heavy. This feels like, woe is me. My life is shitty. And it's like, you don't think there's any way to get out of it, or like things are happening to you. This feels a little victim-y to me. Not all of you, but some of you. Okay? I mean, some of you could be dealing with, you know, another earth sign, but this doesn't feel like that to me. This really feels like a battle of you versus you. And with all this earth here, right, that you're needing to let go of, it's like you need to step out of the physical and step out of what is, because in reality, the 3D dimension, right, what is manifest is actually the past anyways. So when we look into past memories of the 3D, that is like deep, deep past, even if it was a week ago. Because first everything occurs in the non-physical, and then it comes to our mind and or our heart, and we manifest it out into the physical. So you are so far from the present. So far from the present. And anything that has worked for you in the past to bring about abundance, to bring about money and opportunity and the things that you want to gain and hold and have, you cannot continue to approach it the way that you have been. Doesn't matter what method that you have been using, it is no longer serving you. And like I said in the beginning about, I think you will get clarity, it's just going to take a while. We did have the Ace of Swords come up in your advice from Spirit. Now, mind you, the Justice card also has a sword raised, right? And what is so supreme about this card is he has almost every color except blue on his card. Now, if you notice, you have yellow all right here, right? And then the rest is blue, with the exception of the Hangman's kind of purple, indigo. So I think it's interesting how, you know, blue for me is always throat chakra, right? So it's like you have these thoughts and things that you want to say or that have been on your mind, and or you have been speaking ill of your situation or yourself or whatever it is. And then, but the overall energy is like you don't have control over any of that. You know? Like this card always reminds me like all is fair in love and war. Like if you speak, you know what I mean? If you speak it into existence, well then it shall be. Like you always reap what you sow. You always reap what you sow. And again, it's not for us to decide like whether or not you could think you're doing the right thing. And I'm not saying you're doing something bad or wrong, like because again, who am I to decide what is right and what is wrong? And that varies per person and on situations. All I'm telling you is that if you continue to feel that your way is the best way, and that digging your heels in, I'm pretty sure I said this in your last reading, digging your heels in, right? And just saying, no, this is my way, my idea, my style, whatever it is. Like, this is what I do, this is what works for me, and this is how I'm going to approach it. I think that you will be disappointed in what manifests for you. The door that's now open that was once closed, we have the Magician, clarified by the Four of Pentacles, and I love this. The rune we have here is Destiny, right? The blank rune, okay? And that fell on the Magician. Now, the Magician is one of two major arcanas we have here, and, you know, the whole thing about this spread is you have to release this energy to open this door, and then understand where you're vibrating, and take Spirit's advice to seize what's behind this door. So the key to your destiny, the key to these changes that you've been wanting, the key to the more, the key to the manifestation is the Magician. It's understanding that you are limitless and empowered, because the Magician has every single element at his disposal. He's not stuck in the physical. He's not stuck in what is right in front of him on his bank account, on his job, on his lack of job, on his home, on his lack of home. Like he just knows. He knows with the infinity symbol that he is infinitely supported, and that anything that he needs, he can call upon his higher self. He can call upon source. He also understands that as above, so below. So if his world is depleted, he needs to dig deep and figure out where in himself he feels depleted, and then using his resources, right? He has the pentacle, he has the cup, he has the sword, and he has the wand. And he understands that everything is accessible to him. There is no limitation. It's the complete opposite of this Eight of Swords over here. Now, with the Four of Pentacles being the motivator for that, right? You obviously want stability. Okay? Obviously, you want stability. I mean, that's pretty much everyone's MO, but I know that's huge for Earth signs, especially Tauruses, okay? Like, you guys don't even, like, if you've ever met an unstable Taurus, you know how much it bothers them, like on a heart and soul level. Like, and I love Tauruses. Please do not get me wrong. Like, I've dated my fair share of Tauruses. I love y'all. But the key, right? The key to manifestation, again, is stepping out of your own way. The Four of Pentacles blocks his heart. He's so fixated on not losing anything else that he is holding on for dear life to everything he has, which is ultimately blocking his ability to bring anything new in. If we are in a state of resistance of, please don't take it, this is all I have, please, 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 we are going to fuck ourselves, with all due respect. Like, we're, you know what I mean? We're blocking our blessings. We're blocking our blessings. So there needs to be an installation of faith. There really needs to be an installation of faith here. And there needs to be a belief that you are enough, that you have enough, and that you are supported. You have to believe that. If you are lacking those beliefs, again, I think you're going to have a difficult time. And with the Justice, there also needs to be the belief here that you will be taken care of, that you know, do you believe that you've been doing the right thing and that everything will work out for you? Because if you don't, then, I mean, that's, again, we're going back here. That's an issue in and of your own mind. And that shows here in Spirit's advice. The clarity comes from breaking away from this Eight of Swords victim state. Okay? Now, your current energy this month. Again, in your head, we have the Five of Cups. In your heart, the Ten of Wands. And in your foundation, the Page of Swords. The rune on the Page of Swords is fertility. Now, I've spoken on the Five of Cups a good amount, and I think you guys know. You know how you're feeling. It's like, it's a little woe is me. It's a little I'm tired. Mentally, emotionally, I'm tired. And just disappointed. But I think you're disappointed because you knew. Like, it's like, I feel like you played a hand in your disappointment. I mean, we always do. That's the reality, and that's what is so disappointing about when situations fail, is that we know ultimately that we played a hand in it. And that's ultimately because when we only experience disappointment when we place unspoken expectations on other people. And that's what I find so interesting about the Page of Swords down here in the rune fertility, right? Because this is your foundation. This is your motivator for the month of your own energy. Now, the Page of Swords, for the most part, doesn't speak what's on his mind. He like stacks it up. It's like he just keeps, it's like the type of energy of like, oh, this person comes at me, I'm going to say this, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this, I'm going to say this, but you don't say none of that. And I think the question is, who's hurting when you don't speak your mind? And also, who's really suffering when you have that mentality of like saving up an argument? Because this is a twofold energy here. I'm not saying the person that you're thinking those things towards, for some of you, may not deserve to hear what's on your mind. It's not that they don't deserve it or they didn't do you wrong and whatever, right? But if you have this fertile ground, right? If you're standing on fertile ground and you are sowing poisonous seeds, do you want to eat that harvest? You know what I'm saying? So what good is it doing you mulling over like, oh, you know, if this person comes at me, I'm going to say this. If this person comes at me, I'm going to say this. And this person did this to me, so like, I would say this, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this. And it's like, but are you going to strike? It's a little bit of a passive-aggressive type of energy. Like, what good are those thoughts doing you if you're not going to let them up and also express them? At the very least, you need to write like a letter of some sort. That is a great way to release writing these kind of thoughts down, and then I would burn it. I would set it on fire. Obviously, you need to be mindful of how you do that. Trust me, like be near a sink or something, because I've lit some papers on fire a little bit mindless sometimes when I'm just in a hurry, and trust me, it's dangerous. Fire is dangerous. But with that being said, really be mindful of where your heart is at and where your head is at and where your thoughts are trailing. What are you saying? What are you not saying? Right? And if you're not saying anything, who is it serving? You know what I mean? There needs to be a balance here. If you want to speak your mind, speak your mind. Don't be petty. Don't be passive aggressive. Okay, because those also give mixed signals to the universe. Like when you're passive aggressive and you just hold back what you really feel or what you really want to say, you show the universe that you're not, you don't feel like your voice is worthy of being heard. Okay? Now with the Ten of Wands in your heart space, obviously you're tired. You're fucking exhausted, And the question is, how long are you going to put up this fight? How long are you going to stand in the position where you feel you need to push to have things on your terms, or to have things, again, the way that you envisioned, or the way that you're thinking, or the way that you're feeling, right? Because it's hard. It's hard to hold on to emotional baggage. Emotional baggage is not light. I just got that Erykah Badu song in my head. Pack light. Y'all know. The real know. So pack light for this journey, okay? You need to lay down your burdens. And again, we have the wands here, right? And we have no other wands in this spread. So this is a spiritual burden, right? It's like you've been pushing back on accepting Spirit's newest message in your heart, and why you've been pushing it back, only you will know, Taurus. Only you will know. But how does it feel? How does it feel to be in this state currently? And are you willing to do whatever it takes to be out of this state? Okay, that's the real question. Spirit's advice for you. We have the Ace of Swords, clarified by the Eight of Swords. And the rune we have on the Eight of Swords is joy. So literally, literally, this is the need to have a realization that you are the only one blocking your happiness. This seems so straightforward and like basic, but that's literally it. Because the Eight of Swords is always a victim-based, self-perpetuated mentality. You are your own worst enemy. The only person that can bring you happiness is you. The conditions outside of yourself do not need to change. You need to change. And again, this goes back to the Magician and the Destiny. If you are so stuck in a poverty mentality, and I'm not saying that you may not be lacking money. That's not what I'm saying. Or you may not be lacking opportunity. However, focusing on gratitude and focusing on the energy of I deserve, right? I deserve is the only thing that is going to shift you. And there needs to be some level of forgiveness here. And even if, again, you feel wronged or you feel betrayed, it's important to let it go, not for the other person, for you. Forgiveness always happens for the self. So is it going to feel better to forgive that person so that you can move forward with your life? Or is it going to feel better to carry a grudge? Carry a grudge, again, against a person, against source, against life, right? Life has been handing you a shitty deck of cards. Like, that's kind of the feeling I'm having here. It doesn't even feel like it's directed specifically at a person. It just feels like it's directed at life in general. So you are the key to your own happiness. You are the key to your joy. And look, add these up together, you get the Nine of Swords, which is pure anxiety. So be willing to get back in touch with how you feel and your faith. And through that, you are delivered great clarity. But again, clarity that you have the ability to create your own reality. There just needs to be this level of empowerment, and no one can grant it to you but you. And I know that can seem lonely, but you know, we come into this world alone and we go out of this world alone. Like, so even if we have a bunch of people around us, it is not their job to maintain our inner world. You know, it's only our job. The most likely outcome at the end of the month, we have the Hanged Man with the Six of Cups, and the rune that we have on the Six of Cups is safety. So, a couple things here. One, obviously, Hanged Man is looking at things from a different perspective. And again, I don't think you're taking any physical action this month. I think you're finally going to click in your mind that you need to hold on a second, right? And stop sowing these not so nice seeds about yourself and about life in general, right? Taking a pause and looking at things from a different perspective. However, what's interesting about the Six of Cups with the rune safety, for some of you, I think this is like realizing that your children are safe, or that your inner child is safe, and that you don't have to do so much defensive work, right, to protect yourself. We are innately protected if we believe we are protected. Now, I'm not saying that those of you, if you were in some type of domestic violence situation or even emotional or mental abuse situation, like, obviously, you know, we have to do things to get ourselves out of those situations. However, this is not really what I'm feeling here. With the Six of Cups here, it's a nostalgia, right? So it's like maybe in the past you were in a situation that was unsafe, or as a child, you know, you often felt unsafe if you didn't have physical things around you or certain types of conditions around you, and your recent experiences has challenged that. You know, and this also could be friends. But with the Six of Cups here too in safety, I'm feeling like you're going to realize that maybe the moves that you have been making, right? Or the things that you've been thinking or saying or whatever, right? This stubbornness was all out of wanting to protect yourself. Why? I'm not really sure. I think that will be different for all of you depending on the personal situation. But I think it will all root back into some type of childhood situation where you work from a defense mechanism. Okay? And this is you getting a different set of eyes on it. How have I been running an old program to keep myself from rejection? How have I been running an old program to keep myself from ever experiencing great disappointment again, but instead I brought it on? Okay, let's get you an affirmation for the month. This is making me a little nauseous, Taurus, so y'all need to, for your own good, please let it go. Because I have a feeling it'll manifest into health eventually. Okay? You got 2 affirmations, and I think you need both. Here we go. I have unlimited potential. Only good lies before me. The joy I find in my career is reflected in my overall happiness. Well, we need that, right? Oh, I love this one. Limitations are merely opportunities to grow. I use them as stepping stones to success. When I encounter problems on the job, I am willing to ask for help. Well, both of those are about work and about knowing that you deserve it and knowing that you're not alone. But you have to also be willing to step out of your ego and step out of your pride and ask. Ask for assistance, okay? Taurus, I love you all so very much. And I will be back soon with your love readings. Stay blessed. Peace.